Hey, congratulations for your short film. I think it's enough, isn't it?
Thank you so much.
So tell us, how does it feel that your short film is being featured at Slamdance Film Festival this year?
Wow, it's amazing. I think this film has been, it's really unbelievable that this film has got this far because I still have a difficult time thinking of it as a film. You know what I mean? Because initially I didn't really think about it, you know, in a film kind of way. I usually do more narrative work, and I just kind of did it almost on a whim. So having it feature on Slamdance is it's really amazing, and it feels I feel really grateful to have this opportunity to share this story, which I never thought I'd have to share with anyone. But the way things happened, I think it's kind of the best turnout possible.
So tell me what actually sparked you to even put this as a film for yourself.
Well, at the beginning, of course, everything with my dad happened very quickly. So I think as a filmmaker, as a creator, I really felt the need to create something in order to kind of internalize the story myself and hear myself tell it out loud for the first time, so I could really um, understand it. And at the time, I was working with a couple of friends of mine on a web series. It was called 100 Meters because at that time in Israel, we had 100 meters, how do you say, maximum length to go from home because it was the first quarantine in Israel. And you were looking for episodes. So my other two co-creators and friends, they have already done their own episodes, and I kept thinking about what should I talk about. And then this happened kind of all of a sudden, and it just fit. And at the end of it, I realized without even having the intention to, I kind of made a film. So then I sent it to university, and I got some funding for the post production and to be able to go get these tapes and have them like really professionally converted. So it became a film, and once it was a film, I thought it was I kind of had to share it with the world.
Tell us how quickly this event of Corona actually happened for your father. Was that just within a few days or a few weeks?
It was within a day, actually. So the truth is, I think you really can't understand it from the film, which I think is a good thing. But what the actual events were that I haven't seen my parents for a while because I was working in this feature film and Corona had just started and no one really knew anything about it. There weren't really masks then, and all we knew was just like washing our hands. And it was like this talk about a mysterious virus from China. So once this feature film ended, I thought I shouldn't go see my parents on the weekend, so I won't put them at risk. And then I spoke to my folks on the phone. And one day after it, I got a message from my mom saying that my dad had a stroke. So this happened at around 12 noon. And this was his second stroke. He had a first stroke like 5 years ago, I think, 6 years ago now. So it was very frightening because we already knew the feeling and we already knew what we were going into. And just because of how things were with Corona that time, and hospitals were very crazy and they wouldn't let us in. So I never got to see him, and my mom even couldn't get to accompany him in the emergency room. And that same evening, we got a call from the hospital saying we should come in, and he had already passed away by that point. And no one actually knows if it was because of Corona. So we don't really know to this point, to this day, if he had Corona or didn't, because at the end, his lungs were he was really having a really difficult time breathing. And they wouldn't let us see him until they got him tested. So we had also to wait for the tests to come in before we buried him, because at that time there was only one person who had died from corona in Israel. And burial in Israel is kind of different because of all these Jewish laws. So no one really knew what to do. So we had to wait. At the end, the result was negative, but we know he was kind of sick, kind of a cold, fluish-like symptoms. So we all have our doubts until now.
What was this around? What, March of last year?
It was March.
March last year.
Yeah.
When everything just started.
Yeah, in 3 weeks it's going to be a year since he's passing. So yeah.
How do you keep your emotions and composure in check while making this film?
I don't. I didn't, at least. Really, I when I was sitting Shiva in my parents' house, it's this Jewish ceremony. After you bury a person, you sit for 7 days with your family. And originally, this week is meant to help you talk about it. Friends come to visit you and family members, and it's sad, but it's also nice because you sit and you talk about the person and you bring up memories and stories. And because of Corona, we couldn't do it. We were all alone. So I tried, to find something to occupy my time, and I found all of these old tapes. And when I found them, I knew I had to do something. So I started, converting it whatever way I could. And I just sat through all of this footage and I cut away pieces that I liked, not really meaning to do anything about it. Just, it really gave me comfort to hear his voice again and to see us together. It was really, I thought it would make me sad, but it was very comforting. And then I thought about making something out of it because of the work on the web series. And I knew I had to tell the story some way. And I sat with my partner, my girlfriend, and I said, okay, would you sit with me while I record this? So we sat together, and I think we recorded about an hour of us talking, which most of it, like I think 35 minutes or so, was me just sitting quietly, not knowing what to say. And at some point, she just told me, listen, just tell me the story. Just tell me how it went. And I think at that point, it was about maybe 2 or 3 weeks after he had passed away. So it was the first time of me actually saying everything out loud and telling the story and how it is. So, and it's all the original recording. It's in the film. I didn't do like any second takes or anything like that. It's really as it is. So we just recorded it, and the day after I edited it, and it just kind of happened so quickly. I didn't even have time to think about it in a way. And I think it's good because it's so personal and it's so too personal almost. And I think if I would have sat down and thought about it, if I'm going to make a film about it and then everyone's going to see it, and I think I might have not done it. I might have kept it on my computer forever.
Well, it was a display of raw emotions, and that was the strength of this short film. How long did editing and splicing up the old footage took you during the pandemic?
Maybe a week, I think, but it also a week of just mainly viewing the footage. A lot of it I couldn't even remember. Some of it I remembered, the trips we went on, but I didn't remember the footage itself. So going over the footage took me a while, but as I went through it, I just cut away everything that I liked. And I had I think 10-minute cut just of the footage that I really liked. And then when I sat and recorded the voiceover, I put it together, and then it came down to this very short mini version. And I think it had almost no changes at all. I sent it to the friends we were working together on the web series to ask for their opinion. And I changed, I think, maybe one thing or nothing too important, but it remained the same cut since then.
Excellent. Tell us more about your father. Who was he, and what was he like to you? Obviously, you kind of portrayed that in your short film.
Yeah, so my dad was, when I started working on the film, I kind of realized I'm more like my dad than I thought. I think I always thought that, sorry, that my artistic kind of ways were came from my mom's side, but I think a lot of my love to photography and cinematography actually came from him. And he was very quiet, and he didn't speak a lot about his emotions. He had a very difficult time displaying emotions and talking about everything. And I think I'm kind of like him in a way. But I think the good thing is that I have art to express it too, and I think it's very liberating. And my dad never had that that place where he could give himself away. So I think that's the main difference between us. But today, I think making films, keeping on making films, really brings me closer to him.
So, so your goal is to be an aspiring filmmaker in Israel, mainly through narrative.
Yeah, I've done one short film before. It was 2 years ago, 2018. It was called Halayla, Tonight, and it's an LGBT film about a kind of newer, not new, but younger versions of me and my partner. And now, and even before, when I was making this short film about my dad, I was still working on the script of my next narrative short film, which is also it's also an LGBT film. It's about it's also a musical about an elderly lesbian couple. So it's yeah, it's more I like to call it dramedy. It's my favorite genre, I think. And I'm also working on a script for a feature film. I think it's gonna take a while because writing it's really difficult for me. It takes me a long time, but hopefully it will be a film about my parents' story, who got married really young in Israel, and then they moved to Italy to study in university. They started medicine, and then they changed, but they lived through very difficult years in Italy, both historically and politically, and also personally, with not having a lot of money and being a young couple. Yeah, that's it.
Since it's almost been a year, how are you coping today? Because I know the situation has slightly improved in your country.
Yeah, we've had three big corona waves. We've just gotten out of the third quarantine, which has been not as bad as the first one, but I think everyone is very tired of everything already. It's been a year, and people, they feel like they don't see the results. So every quarantine gets more difficult, I think, mentally. But now I think things are looking up because of the vaccines. Here in Israel, I mean, most of my friends, it is now open for everyone to get a vaccine. I got the first one a couple of weeks ago. So in about a week, I'll have the second one. And my mom and my sister and most of my friends also already got vaccines. And it kind of feels like the world, at least in Israel, is waking up. We're starting to get back. Tomorrow they're opening up the cinemas. So yeah, it's very optimistic here for now. And for me, yeah, it's almost a year. It's strange to me to think it's been a year. Doesn't feel like a year. Feels like, I don't know, a couple of months. It's gotten through very fast. I'm still very sad. I still miss him a lot, but I think somehow even his death kind of brought us closer than we were at life, because he had such a difficult time expressing emotion. In a way, I kind of feel him with me. in this journey with this film, with Slamdance, especially this year, Slamdance being online and being visible to so many countries. I think it really suits this film and the time it was made.
Excellent. Well, let me ask you one more question. When people watch this film, what is the one most important takeaway that you hope that they would, walk away with after watching your short film?
I think the main thing is not even specifically about Corona, but just really appreciating the time we have with the people who are close to us. Because I think when I was making this, this is very old footage, and there almost isn't any footage of the times after I was maybe 9 or 10, I think. And I tried to remember when was the last time we took a photo together. When was the last time we talked on the phone, which was actually the day before he died. But I think those kind of things we take really for granted. And I would, if I could go back, I would take more pictures with him. And just, I think these memories we create together, they're very important. And to the parents who would watch this film, is like to keep making memories with your kids and to keep photographing them, even if they don't want to, because they're becoming teenagers and they're like, no, mom, stop it. Because I think even them, mostly them, will appreciate it in some years. So I think it's very important, and yeah, not give it up.
Absolutely. Well, Emily, hey, thank you very much for speaking with me about this. I know it's a very tough subject to tackle, to make the film and to talk about it, but
Yeah.
but you're very brave for speaking out on this, and hopefully I get to check out some of your future work down the road.
I really hope so. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye.